Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to you, everyone on YouTube. How are we all doing today? Today's video, we have got the M4A1 Revalorisé Tier 8 Premium tank. Not premium match made, as I do particularly like, but nonetheless, still a very good tank, providing you can have it in the right sort of scenario. I'm platooned today with Sergeant Hawkins, who's in the HMH M51. Effectively the very same tank, just a different name is the best way of placing it. We are on Ghost Town today. This is a standard battle, and before we get into the actual gameplay itself, we're going to have a look into the specific tank. Now this is a Tier 8 non-premium match made tank, which is not one that I would tend to go for on a regular basis. I do like my premium match made tanks, but nonetheless one that is special. And I say special because the alpha damage on this tank. So you are having the luxury of using a 105mm gun. Doesn't sound like very much, to be perfectly honest, but then when you consider that it can drop 390 plus alpha, it's actually flipping good. I mean, I like to use more expressive terms. But when you can have tanks that are tier 9, tier 10 being slapped in the side for 400 damage plus, especially from an E75 that can have an upwards of 500 damage roll, it makes people think. And another aspect of this tank gun as well, when you come across people in lower tiers, so like for example E7s or even 6s, and in some cases tier 8s as well, they can have a lot of health left and you'll just suddenly remove it. 410 HP? No worries, the tank says goodbye. Nice little shot, 347 to the side of a hammer, removing him quickly from the game. An unusual manoeuvre for the certain individual itself to move forward that far, but each to their own. There's already a few people taken out in their team, and it's coming to light how much this tank, 418 side of Black Prince, it gets me every time the alpha on this gun. Penetration, because you are firing standard APCR, you're looking around about 200. Your heat rounds, which is your premium ammo, is 250, and you got about 53mm on your high explosive. Rate of fire is about 4.63, depending on what kind of crew skills you have, the perks, etc. with your consumables. Might be around about a 9.5, 9.7 reload. The accuracy isn't too particularly amazing, but at the same time it's actually okay when you consider other aspects of the tank. So yes, it's lightly armoured, but it's highly manoeuvrable. You've got a fantastic gun depression on the tank itself, and let's not forget the alpha that can just remove tanks for 396 HP, even though it can do more with one shot. So we're moving around, we're already 5 tanks ahead. They've only got 2 of us, and I'm coming up against a T28 prototype. Unfortunately, I get hit instead of the I believe it's Hawkins that sat behind me, which is okay, I don't mind that. I can take out the T28, oh it's someone else in T32, sorry, that's behind me. Taking out the T28 prototype and moving on around to the E75, and I'll think about taking him out as well. Wasn't as much as the other tanks in terms of HP, but 4th kill down. It looks like this game is already in the bag. The tank I won in the event, I can't remember for the life of me what it was, but it included the one that had the Bulldog and a few others where you were gaining specific points. But aside from that, let's go back into the game. I accidentally blocked someone's shot, 100% accidental. We're currently in a scenario now where the tank really does excel. If you can use your gun and slap people for 350, 370, 390 HP, especially tanks of, say for example, your tier 7s, you are going to have a big impact on the game. Not just in your silver earnings, your XP, the amount of damage you'll end up doing, just overall, as long as you can get them to actually hit where they're meant to hit. So in an example we've got here, there are a lot of tanks that are not really looking in my direction, looking to hit me. The Type 4, for example, is a good example in this case of not actually looking at me, and I don't really want him to, let's be perfectly fair there. He's concentrating on other people, so I'm using that to my advantage. Fortunately, he's got himself into a position where the tanks behind him can't shoot, and I get a shot into the side of him, only for 208, which did want to troll me quite a bit with that one, but that's okay. The rest of the tanks we've got behind are your lower tiers. This wasn't a particularly heavy tier 9 game, there's only 3 of them, so you got your Tortoise, your E75, which has already been killed, and the Type 4 Heavy. Got some decent shots in the Type 4 Heavy, but I will need to put a few more into him, because he has a huge slab of HP there. Unfortunately for him, he decides to go after the teams down low, which affords me the opportunity in this case to remove all the tanks in the game. Now these ones aren't particularly troublesome for anyone, although having said that, I don't have the armour that can bounce a tier 29 on a regular basis. So I want to try and take out as many guns as possible. We're also going to take into account that the Type 4 Heavy is not a very fast tank, and I am. So we can leave him down there. If he wants to come back up the hill, he's going to cause himself a whole world of issues. Unfortunately, due to the fact it's a very trolley kind of tank and is angling, I wasn't quite able to get him into the back of the commander port. In theory, should I have gone for the KB3 or not? I think the Type 4 Heavy was a much better option for me to choose. We're now down to the last two tanks. There's me and I believe a Pershing against a Type 4 and a Tortoise. Not as bad of a kind of matchup as you would assume. This gun, don't forget, has a high roll for the Alpha. Now, unfortunately, the Tortoise, you do have to worry about his reload, but the distance that he has to cover there is enough for me to reload itself. And I have a gun which does us almost as much damage as what he does. Unfortunately, I didn't reload in time, but that's okay. I have the help of the other medium behind me. We don't want to be in a position of trying to do what I do here and miss all the time, but if there is an option to be able to take some damage myself and dish it out, all well and good. The Pershing, fortunately, because of the HP, he's able to go forward, take out the Tortoise before he's able to get a shot into me. My shot went into his machine gun port, but it wasn't enough in time. The Pershing got the kill. All well and good. This is something I wouldn't then do. The Pershing is already spotted by the Tortoise, so the Type 4 knows where he's going to be coming from. Unfortunately, because he did that, the Type 4 was waiting for him. So now we're in a 1 versus 1 situation. I could get the top gun here, or I could fail spectacularly, and without necessarily needing to, the Type 4 can derp. He's not wanting to come around the corner for obvious reasons. He doesn't want to be in a position whereby I'm easily going to be able to get a shot into the side. I've loaded up heat shells, so in this one you can't physically see, so that 250 plus millimeters of penetration. I'm going to need every single bit of millimeter possible to ensure that I get a penetration. I only need one hit. Now the high explosive I'm not going to rely on. I am only going to use the high explosive anti-tank because I want to make sure that shot is done. I have the better mobility. I have better gun depression. There are a lot of aspects of the tanks which outweigh the Type 4, and I think I have a good chance. Now what I'll do is I'll slap in the viewpoint like a little replay of me shooting that tank, because I swear I should have shot through the actual tank that's on screen right in front of me now. So what kind of damage did we do in the game? Enough to make 150,000 silver with only one 5,000 op, 7,154 XP because of the ×2, 5,500 damage, only 79 assist, Top Gun and the Mastery Badge. For 16 penetrations in a very, very good game, that is a lot of silver. And considering the fact it was quite fortunate in not launching me into a tier 10 game where I probably wouldn't have done as well, 2,271 base XP, not a bad haul at all. Just a phenomenal amount, and it's helping me get towards my tier 10 light tank. So I'm all for it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you beautiful guys later. And if you can do, let me know which one of your specific premium tanks, similar to this one, you do actually enjoy playing. Because I am very interested in getting another one. I'm not sure which one yet, but we'll see. Cheerio.